Welcome back. Now we'll start our debate today. Rafidah, you have 6 minutes to start your argument now.
Thank you, Mr. Zakir. Today, as many of us know, GST is a controversial economic measure proposed by the government. So, many observers have an impression that there are a lot of people who oppose to the idea of GST rather than supporting it. So what I'm going to do today is to put this issue into a proper perspective so that a better decision can be made. First, why GST is a must? First, it is for stability in economic growth. It is reported in 2010 that income tax contributed around 44% to economic revenue. So, this income tax mostly comes from working population. What is going to happen in the future is that this working population will grow older and they have nothing to offer to revenue. Moreover, it is also reported that 40% of tax revenue of this country is contributed by oil and gas industry. So, in the future, as we know, the supply of oil and gas will deplete and diminish day by day. So, by using GST, we could have a new source of generating tax revenue, besides maintaining the stability in economic growth. Also, as we all know, in Malaysia, the tax rate is way higher than our rivals, such as Hong Kong and Singapore. In Malaysia, we have 26% tax rate for personal income tax, and also 25% for corporate income tax. While in Singapore, we have 15% for personal income tax, and Hong Kong 17%. So from this figure, we could see that we have a very high income tax rate. So by implementing GST, it is a good answer for a call in a reduction in income tax. This would be good news for, especially for low-income working population. And also, what GST can do is, when the government imposing GST, all the exports good will be exempted from tax. So, from the revenue from exported goods and also services, we could use it to surpass trade deficit. As of the first quarter in 2012, we have import rates which are growing faster than export rates at 6.9% compared to export rates which is 6.4%. So we don't want this trend to happen, as we want to avoid trade deficit. If trade deficit happens, we might have an increase in goods prices and also lead to inflation. Secondly, why we need GST? It is for improvement in social welfare as well as development projects. For example, we take Canada. When GST was implemented in 1992 in Canada, the country's revenue increased from 15 billion and jumped steadily to 34 billion in 2005. As for Malaysia, it is estimated an increment of 1 billion ringgit in country's revenue. So from this extra and more revenue that we generated from GST, we could have more development projects that is beneficial for rakyat, as well as social welfare that is assured, such as education, healthcare, and also facilities for disabled people. When the rakyat's welfare is assured, we can achieve our target as one of developed countries by 2020. Lastly, GST is needed for more efficient and also more transparent taxing system. Like right now, Malaysia currently is imposing narrow-based tax. Contrary to that, GST is more broad taxing system. What is meant by more broad taxing system is it is structured in a very detailed manner, which the suppliers, the consumers, as well as the sellers are aware the transactions of the transaction of the business, so we could avoid tax evasion, and in turn the government can know the origins of the tax revenue. So in conclusion, I would say GST is not an option for Malaysia, but it is a must and a necessity.
Thank you very much. Just on time. And now we'll pass to Azharin for him to cross-examine the affirmative speaker on the points that she has proposed. Azharin, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to draw your attention to a couple of points here, which I find very interesting. In the first place, I think we agree that in Malaysia, 40% of the population are actually paying taxes. Therefore, the way I see it, that's where the issue is. The issue is that only 40% of the population are paying taxes.
Okay.
So, how then GST, I mean, I just fail to see the mechanism where GST will make it equal, or will widen the tax collection base, because at the end of the day, GST is still looking at one particular area of collection. Okay, that's one. And then the other thing is about trade deficit. Good. I won't dispute the fact about we are importing more than we are exporting at the moment. But I would then dispute by saying that is it not the wrong answer to the problem? Because we are then penalizing the broader population, because we are not really addressing where the issue is. So those are my 2 points.
Thank you. Rafida, you have 3 minutes to answer.
Okay. By implementing GST, it is like the concept is what you buy, what you pay, what you buy, basically. As more people pay for services and goods, the revenue of this country will be spread out. I mean, like, if more people pay for services, they will have more people contributing to tax revenue. What is the issue is that 40% of working population most of them comes from low-income population. So when GST is implemented, it is proposed that the government will reduce the income tax by implementing GST. So the tax burden is spread out, and also the rakyat will enjoy more wealth in their income. So the next question is trade deficit.
Not addressing the issue of the trade deficit, not addressing the issue. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Not addressing the issue?
Yeah, because I don't feel that GST is addressing the issue of trade deficit of the country.
So what is meant by that is not addressing the issue. I would say it is not addressing the issue of trade deficit. It is more like contributing more to export rates. I mean, like, it's not trade deficit is not good. It's more like when we have increment in export rates, we could have, that means we generate more revenue, and so that means also we success in promoting Malaysia to foreigners to bring investment in our country. Yeah, if that answered that question.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, now let's move to the negative speaker, where he will lay down his points on the topic, the proposal GST, why is it a must? To the negative speaker, Azarin, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Sejana. I just want to make a point of correction there. I still maintain that GST, why is it not a must? The reason I say that, well, or rather the reasons I say that, a few things. But even before I begin on that, let me just take you back to what you said, Cik Rafida, before that, where you said that it's very controversial. Yes, it is very controversial. I think you agree. Thank you for agreeing with me on that one. Because at the very fundamental of our taxation system, or for that matter, in any other country, is that we are relying on people to volunteer their compliance to taxation. Just to give you an example, let's say I'm a small business, right? I will have an account clerk or an account executive that will do the accounting for a company. And then here comes GST. And then GST says onto me that I have to do A, B, C and comply with it, submit certain documentation at certain time of the year, that sort of thing. Now, that imposes additional burden. Now, just hold on to that thought, because my point is that I want to show you that in a country's economy, the majority of the wealth is generated by SME. In fact, in any countries, SME forms the backbone of the country's wealth. Therefore, SMEs are the ones who does not have the infrastructure to help the government to implement the GST system, because GST depends on these very people to do the collection. They just do not have the resources. I mean, if I were to, as a small business, if I were to add in additional overhead, that means I'll have to pass the cost to someone. Obviously, it's the consumer. Therefore, my cost will increase. Therefore, the whole price structure, the whole economy eventually will also have to take a suffering on that. Because it is just not our core business as SME to help the government to collect tax. Okay, yes, we will comply, but what is it that what is it? What is in it for us? That's basically the question. And then my next point is that there's a lot of criticism, you said, about this GST. I wonder if you really have stopped on your track and just ask yourself why. And I'll tell you why. I mean, this is meant to be a rhetorical question anyway. It's actually, if, let's say you're a low-income earner, okay, let's say you earn 1,000 ringgit a month. So a certain percentage of your tax, of your income will be taxed when you go out and buy drinks, buy food, buy everyday essentials, okay? Now, as a low-income earner, every single cent is counted. So therefore, you are really penalizing these people. Okay, yes, the rich will get taxed more, of course. That's what the system entails, because they presumably buy more, they presumably buy more expensive goods, luxury goods, that sort of thing. But to the poor, to the less affluent, they are buying essentials. But a certain portion of that money, what, 10%, 15%, 20%, will go towards paying these taxes. And that's additional taxes to their income tax, to whatever other, the road taxes and other forms of taxes. It's just additional. So it really doesn't seem fair to that point. Okay? And then my third point, okay, your point just now, you're looking at implementing tax on a broader society, implementing tax because we can't collect on our trade deficit. But why? Is it because that we are lacking in our collection system? I put to you that is actually the reason. Because, I mean, just look at the news, just look at the numbers, the statistics. A lot of the rich are evading their taxes. The poor pay their taxes. They just don't have the choice, or they just don't have the means, or they don't have the know-how to evade this. So again, the enforcement in this is lacking. The enforcement on the existing taxation is lacking. Yet we want to go on and down the road and, yeah, okay, just because we failed in that area, let's implement it something else. We're not addressing the issue, are we? So that, Mr. Chairman, are my points.
Thank you very much. Now, we pass back to the affirmative speaker for you to cross-examine based on the points that the negative speaker laid out his points. Rafida, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my first question would be, like you said, it would cost, it would be an additional cost to customers, right? If GST is implemented. Have you ever thought any reasons why in Singapore, why most of their goods are cheaper? Okay, first, their goods are cheaper. They are being taxed of GST, but yet they are able to develop as a very competitive country in the world also. So do you think GST is still not possible to be implemented in Malaysia? My second question would be like, second question is, do you think with proper documentation and proper appropriate steps that the government will conduct, is it still not possible for GST to be implemented?
Thank you. Azharin, you want to answer back?
Good question. Right, additional cost. Right, does GST has the effect on lowering costs of the goods? Does it make it cheaper on the economy? Does it mean that the government has got more money so that it can subsidize the price of goods? I don't see that. I don't see those developed countries where the government subsidizing the cost of goods. So I don't think it's really the effect of the GST. The way I see it, that it could be that they have a better civil service system, they have a better implementation, they have a better collection system. Therefore, it helps in churning it back into society. Therefore, that helps to put in a better infrastructure overall, and that perhaps helps to, make for a better society, a more developed society, which, in essence, overall, has a net effect of lowering their cost of living. I don't know, that could be the reason. But I seriously don't think GST is the reason per se of lowering of that. Because in other countries, for example, India, take India, it implements GST and then No, it doesn't have that effect. Why? Because research has proven that in India, it's the collection system that's a problem. Although they still have GST there. Okay, so that's the first one that I put to you. The second one, proper documentation. I gather you mean proper system by the government. Okay, right. Perhaps yes. By having a better system, a better collection system, then overall you get more income. The government has more income. Then when the government has more income by present system, why do we need GST? We don't need GST because if we can collect better with an existing system, hey, why mend something that's already working? So that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, all of us have heard the negative speaker and also the affirmative speaker laid out their points on the topic proposal GST. Why is it a must? We'll take a break for now. Thank you.